Hey everybody, welcome back to WireDogSecurity, and I'm here with another video for you guys. Hopefully you're all having an awesome day today and you're ready to learn and ingest this awesome information that's going to be shared in this video. But as usual, before we get into it, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying the content, hit that like button, and of course, comment below on your thoughts and opinions on the information discussed, and be sure to share the video with your friends, family, anyone who's looking into cybersecurity. It's all kinds of exciting stuff going on here. All right, let's dive into it. TryHackMe. This is the Metasploit Meterpreter room. This is a VIP room, so you will need to have that premium subscription in order to access this particular room. But we're just going to go over the information in this room and stuff that you're going to learn when you go to this room. All right, task one, Meterpreter. It goes over the definition of Meterpreter. It's payload that supports the penetration testing process with manual or many valuable components. Meterpreter will run on target system, act as an agent within a command and control architecture. You will interact with the target operating system and files and use Meterpreter's specialized commands. Meterpreter has many versions which will provide different functionalities based on the target system, and that is true. Depending on which type of Meterpreter shell is, it'll have different features, commands that you can use in that Meterpreter shell itself. Now we're not going to go over all this information here. Just make sure to access the room and review the information for yourself. Meterpreter is a well-known, C2 framework out there, and it's freely available on the Kali Linux distribution. How does Meterpreter work? Basically, I mean, it's a C2 command and control. It's basically like, you know, the command shell on crack. It's got various different features and stuff you can use in there. It explains everything in here. Like I said, I'm not going to go over all of this in great detail. It goes over a few commands here: get PID, get process ID, and it displays information out. PS, of course, it's going to list all the processes that's running on that machine. It goes through and gives you an example here. And it's running as NT authority system, which is administrator level privileges if you're running as this account here. Let's see, even if we were to go a step further and look at DLL, dynamic link libraries used by interpreter process PID 1304. In this case, we still will not find anything jumping at us, e.g. no interpreter DLL. It's telling you that it's a little bit harder to spot interpreter cells because there's nothing, obviously presented to the security analyst, which is trying to find your type of activity on their machines. Okay, continuing on here. It's also worth noting that Meterpreter will establish an encrypted TLS communication channel with the attacker system, and that's great. So that way, when you are doing all your stuff on that target box, you're not the information that's going back to your attacker machine isn't going to be viewable by the system analyst or the cyber defender. All right, task two, Meterpreter flavors. As discussed in the previous Metasploit rooms, linked below, Metasploit payloads can be initially divided into two categories: inline, also called single, and staged. As you remember, staged payloads are sent to the target in two steps. An initial part is installed the stager and request the rest of the payload. This allows for a smaller initial payload size. Inline payloads are sent in a single step. Meterpreter payloads are also divided into staged and inline versions. However, Meterpreter has a wide range of different versions you can choose from based on your target system, and it gives you that command on how to list out those payloads for Meterpreters, shells, and such. You can grep it into Meterpreter to make it easier to find, and it gives you a big list of stuff here. You got Android, Apple, Java, Linux-based systems, and it gives you the list of operating systems it can work on, and it's a plethora of operating systems out there. Of course, the most popular ones are going to be probably Windows and Linux-based systems. So your decision on which version of Interpreter we'll use will be mostly based on three factors: target operating systems, components available in the system, network connection types you have with the target system. If you're not using Meterpreter as a standalone payload generated by MSS Venom, your choice may be limited by the exploit. You will notice some exploits will have a default Meterpreter payload, as you can see an example below. It goes over the Eternal Blue one, and it defaults to um, that reverse TCP. You can go show payloads to list different ones that the exploit has available for that particular exploit you're going to run. Let's see, Meterpreter commands. Of course, help menu. You can just use the question mark to list everything available, or you can just type in help. Itself is going to give you a lot of information about it. Help command works in Meterpreter. Shell itself, you can also use it when looking at the particular like exploit you want to run. Help commands goes are all different commands available. See here, interpreter commands, core commands, background session, exit, get user ID, or sorry, get the session GUID, help, this was help menu info, all kinds of stuff here that's freely available in the Metasploit or in Meterpreter shell. See file system commands, CD, the usual stuff here, print working directory, edit, cat, remove, upload, download. Those will come in handy when you are actually on a machine and start conducting post-exploitation activity. Network commands, ifconfig, netstat, or route. Route will come in handy as well, so you can get onto machines that may not be accessible initially. Let's see, system commands, clear event logs. You probably won't want to run this in an actual pen test engagement because it could trigger a bunch of alerts to the cyber defenders out there, and you want to remain stealthy on the machine. Execute, get PID, kill, all kinds of stuff. PS, like I said, listing the running processes, reboot shell, drops into a shell, like the command shell on a Windows box, for example. Sysinfo gives you information about the system. Let's see here. You can see the rest here. Get system will also come in handy as well if you're a low-level user and you want to escalate privileges. Then, of course, hash dumper will see the hashes for the user counts on that box. All right, task number 4. Meterpreter provides you with many useful commands that facilitate the post-exploitation phase. Below are a few examples you will often use. Help, of course. As with anything, help command comes in handy when you need to know how a particular tool works. Interpreter commands, we already covered some of these in the previous task. Migrate to another process will help Meterpreter interact with it. For example, if you see a word processor running on the target machine, e.g. word.exe, notepad, etc., you migrate to it and start capturing keystrokes sent by the user to this process. Some Meterpreter versions will offer you the key scan start, stop, and dump commands. That's basically, yeah, a keylogger. Migrate would also come in handy if you want to migrate into a process that's more stable, so you won't lose your session on that box. Of course, hash dump, already covered that before. And then search, if you want to find a particular file on the machine, you can use search -f, and then let's say you're doing a CTF, well, flag whatever, flag asterisk dot text to find anything that has flag in it and it's a text file. And in real world, maybe you want to look for sensitive information. You know, SSN is short for social security numbers. So you can enter something like that to find files on the system that contain possible social security numbers. And a shell, of course, gets you into the shell as explained before. Task number 5. Interpreter provides several important post-exploitation tools. Commands mentioned previously, such as get system and hash dump, provide important leverage and information for privilege escalation, lateral movement. We've already said that or covered that in the previous task. Load Python, load command loads different types of modules out there. Load Kiwi, for example, is Mimikatz. Load Mimikatz onto that box, and then you can use Mimikatz to do all kinds of awesome things in that box, i.e. dump hashes and other things. Make sure to look up Mimikatz, look into what all it can do. It can do some pretty awesome things. And on another note, since Mimikatz is so well known, a lot of times it'll be detected immediately by EDR tools, antivirus tools out there. Of course, help command lists all kinds of information about that particular module that was loaded, a particular tool that was loaded up. And here we are on the actual questions we need to get the answers for. And obviously, I've already gone through this, but let's go ahead and step through the thought process and all the cool hands-on stuff that I went through in order to find these answers. All right, task number 5, the fun stuff, post-exploitation challenge. Meterpreter provides several important post-exploitation tools. Commands mentioned previously, such as get system and hash dump, will provide important leverage and information for privileged escalation and lateral movement. Meterpreter is also a good base you can use to run exploitation modules available on the Metasploit framework. Finally, you can also use the load command to leverage additional tools such as Kiwi or even the whole Python language, and gives you the example here, load Python. There you go. The post-exploitation phase will have several goals. Meterpreter has functions that can assist all of them: gathering further information about target system, looking for interesting files, user credentials, initial network interfaces, and generally interesting information on the target system, privilege, escalation, lateral movement. And all this will come in handy on CTFs or actual pen test engagements. As with many systems, you want to enumerate and discover as much information as possible. That'll help you in turn when it comes to exploiting machines. Once any additional tool is loaded using the load command, you will see new options on the help menu. Load Kiwi, which is Mimikatz, and it gives you an example here showing you that it's loading Kiwi, Mimikatz. There you go. And when you enter help, it'll give you the commands for that specific module that's been loaded. And here's the screenshot of what it looks like there. And as you can see, it can do all kinds of stuff, dump all kinds of creds. I mean, it's a pretty neat tool. The only thing with Mimikatz is it's so well known that it is usually detected by modern day EDR or antivirus solutions, so you may need to do some kind of modifications to it to make it undetectable. All right. See, the answers or the questions below will help you have a better understanding of how Meterpreter can be used in post-exploitation. And you're going to use this module here to conduct this activity, find answers to these questions, which I have already done. And we're going to use the username of B. Allen, and password is going to be capital P, password 1. All right. Well, as with anything, you want to do some kind of port scan, surface scan on there, discover which ports are open, what services are running on those ports, all that good stuff to help you out on your penetration testing activities or capture flag activities. And I've already ran an mmap scan. So let's go through here and see what we can find. Port 53 is open, it's running DNS. Port 80 is open, HTTP. It's the Microsoft IIS 10. Okay, that's interesting. See Kerberos stuff going. Port 88, 135 is open, 139. NetBIOS, 389. LDAP, okay. Active Directory. Let's see here. Domain, flash.local. And we continue on here. Gives you some more information about it. And if it's running Active Directory, it's probably going to be a domain controller. Let's see. Anything else of use here? acme-test.flash.local. SMB stuff here. I think that's about it. All right, let's go back and review. Let's see, what is the computer name? We haven't gotten to that yet, but we have the domain from earlier when we looked at the scan here, flash. Right there, domain, flash.local, okay? And to get the rest of this stuff here, we're gonna have to actually get onto that machine. So let's go ahead and do that. Jumping over here to the Metasploit, and I've already loaded up that specific exploit module that we're going to use, and I've already set the password and the username that we're going to use. So we're going to go ahead and show options to review it. All right, now I need to set the R host, make sure that's set correctly, and that's going to be the target machine IP, of course. SMB password, got it set, and there you have username. Okay, now let's go ahead and set this R host. So we're going to set, okay, and what was that IP? 10.10.48.82. That's 82. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and run this bad boy. It's working its magic, doing its thing, exploiting that target machine. And of course, it already set, I'm using the default payload with this. All right, and we have the Meterpreter session open, and then you want to get to help. There you go. Let's go ahead and do a hash dump, see if we can do that. Nope, we don't have the correct permissions yet, so let's try get system. All right, well, let's try it again. Hash dump. Nope, still didn't work. All right, so let's list processes. Maybe we need to migrate into something. And as we saw earlier, you can migrate into LSAS. So let's see what that's running as on this particular box here. Yeah. All right, there we go. 780 it looks like. So let's migrate into 7080. Doing its thing, migrating into that process. There we go. Now let's try hash dump again. And there we have it. We got the hashes for those users' accounts on that machine. And we have it there. And you can go into, I think it's hashcrack.net to crack this hash here, or to find that hash, what it goes to, and that's the password it goes to. All right, now let's find these shares. I have backgrounded that session, and I've gone in and I found this module here at Windows Gather enum shares, and I have the settings configured here. Session is going to be 1, so let's go ahead and run it and see what it does. It goes through everything, and let's see here. Well, the suspect share appears to be this one here, Speedster, and that is the answer for that question. Let's see here. Where is the secrets.txt file? Now for this one, of course, we're going to go back and use that search feature to find that location of that file. So let's go and do that. Let's go to sessions, I for interact, and then it's going to be 1 to get back in there. Let's go ahead and search F for file, and it wants us to find that secrets.txt. Oops, I can spell text. Now this could take some time here, so I am going to skip forward on this part, and also this next part here to find this real secret one. All right, and we're back here. Search has completed and found both of those secrets files. The first one here, located in this directory right there, and then I cat the file to find out the password. There it is right here. And for the real secret, it's going to be this here that's contained in that text file. And since this is running a web server, you can manually navigate to that real secret one. So let's go ahead and try that. And there you have it. And there is another way to do this target domain one. There's a post module out there, so I'll go ahead and show that module, see how that looks. All right, in the module that we're going to use is this Windows Gather enum underscore domain. I had set the session to 1. Make sure to set it to whatever session that you want to run that module against, and hit run, and it found the domain Flash and the domain controller. Very interesting. Acme -test, and there is the IP address for that. So that answers the last question up there. What is the target domain? Flash. Now with that search feature, like I said, you can use that in CTFs to search for flag files, proof files, etc., or on actual penetration testing engagements. Maybe you want to find some files that have some type of sensitive information in them. You can search for maybe SSN for social security numbers, or maybe you can search for passwords, any files that contain or have the file name of password, because we all know that sometimes IT folks will put passwords in some kind of Excel file, or even users will have those passwords located in Excel files or text files or any type of files out there where you can put stuff into. And that can be some additional loot that you can use to, in turn, sign in as those users or into different types of systems, what have you. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you got any type of valuable information from this video, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, information shared, all that good stuff. And then comment below on your thoughts and opinions on the information discussed. Thank you. Have a nice day.